Hello, everybody. We have made it to Friday, which is always a fantastic feeling. And it's also the best day of the week. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. It could be Saturday. Either way, it's the weekend. And that is the most important thing for us. We have another fantastic guest on tonight. And on Wednesday, we had Nadine Matheson coming off the back of the Harrogate Crime Writers Festival. And we have another crime book in today, which is pretty awesome. And we can talk more about serial killers and death and darkness and all that good stuff. It is indeed Friday, so thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure that you listen, that you watch the show, and you engage with us. So please do enjoy the chat with each other. Please hit the like button, the notification bell, and of course, subscribe if you haven't already done so. And we've got some great guests coming up in the future and some panel shows and a lot of good things happening. So, it's worth sticking around for. Hello to you in the chat. And always, we start the show off with the Beer Token book promotion, and I'm going to remember all the videos today, like I've been told before many times. Use them, so I am. So here is the Beer Token book promotion. So there it is. Today's Beer Token book promotion. And of course, if you don't know what this is, you can sponsor every show with one of your books. Or if you're feeling really kind of sponsorous, spiritual, that's the wrong word, you can sponsor someone else's book and just nominate that. But you pay a very small price and you get your book advertised throughout the thing, and it's fantastic and it does support the show. So today's is from Marianne Elthorpe, who has sponsored her. This is the 5th time she has sponsored our show, and that's because it's leading up to her 6th book, which is released in September. And you'll see on the bottom of your screen right now, it's called Empire's Reckoning, and it's the 5th book, as we mentioned. We're heading towards the release that is out on the September, and it's had 12 reviews so far, and it's rated 4.9 out of 5, which is fantastic. The blurb reads, "How many secrets can one family have? For 13 years, Sorley has taught music alongside the man he loves. War and betrayal nearly forgotten. But behind them, calm and ordered life. There are hidden truths. When a young girl's question demands an answer, does he break the most important oath he has ever sworn by lying, or tell the truth, risking the destruction of both his family and the fragile political alliance?" So if you are into that series, which you should be, because they're all fantastically cheap and they all look fantastic, and each one of them has been well reviewed, please get into that and look out for the 6th one coming very soon in September. Thank you, Marianne. It's a fantastic support for us. And of course, I will pop your book up in the corner right about now. There it is. So on to the show, and tonight's guest, oh my goodness, I can't wait to talk about this book and how this has all happened. And I'm sure you guys, if you've seen the tweets and stuff about this book, then you will also be very excited about this. Tonight's guest has worked in the UK prison service and has been a nurse in the NHS. We literally can't praise this person enough. Very underrated jobs and very overworked. Indeed, she has used that experience alongside with the knowledge gained from her psychology degree to write an absolute chart-smashing book, and that is no joke. I can't wait to find out how that happened. The book at the time of writing, and this is something I did in a week, is 10 weeks in, so that's not a long book life, and it's had 4,700 ratings just 2 days on since I wrote that. Is now on 4,956 reviews on Amazon, which is incredible. It's also made a top 50 in the UK print chart, #1 Apple Books, #1 Kobo, and 5th in Amazon. It's 17th overall on the Amazon charts now, which is, if you're Ian Rankin or anyone else that's a big author, you expect to go in those top charts. But 6 weeks in those top charts for this debut book, so that is simply incredible. And it hit 6 weeks there. It's not just gone straight in there, 6 weeks. So let's get this author on, because it's going to be very exciting to find out exactly how that's happened. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alice Hunter. Hello.
Oh, hi. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday indeed. Cheers to you. I hope you're well. How are things?
Okay, not bad actually. Thank you. Yeah, having a good week. Well, had a good week. It's over now.
It is over.
Yeah.
That's amazing seeing on the chat. It really is. We'll get into your book very shortly, and we'll obviously find out what it's about, and we'll dig into that a little bit and find out your opinion on a few things. But before we jump into that, what we always love to do, and get to know you a little bit before we get into the story. So, Alice, I mentioned a few things there, but when did that become something in your life that you were excited about and became a passion of yours?
Well, actually, that's quite a good question, because I'm quite late, really, into writing as a job. Anyway, I think probably with most writers, at school I used to love writing. I was quite a big storyteller.
Okay.
Which you could say perhaps liar might be a thing. I was quite good at like spinning a tale or two at school. So I probably, I enjoyed, and always kind of crimey things. Actually, I quite liked crime early on. So and it's my dad really, I think, that got me into reading a lot. So I would always go down to the library with him and get loads and loads of books, because it's a little local library as well. I always was able to take more than I should have done. So that's quite nice. I always used to go back with loads of books. So I can't say writing was necessarily, I didn't ever think I'm going to be an author. Mm-hmm. I don't know why it didn't cross my mind. I don't know why that was. I think nursing was something that was put into my mind, like, when you take your options at school and whatnot. Yeah. A lot of my teachers were like, "Oh, you're quite caring. You'd be quite good at nursing." So it was put into my head, and that's where I went. So I didn't really think about anything else. And it wasn't really till I had my second child that I thought I quite enjoy writing. I think I went, I joined like, those not online, because it wasn't online then, like a distance learning course. For writing. So I did that thinking, whilst I was pregnant, I might as well do something, whilst I'm sat around. So I did that, and that's really what got me into thinking about writing then. So what would I be? I was quite late 20s probably before I.
Okay. I mean, it's not unheard of. I mean, I joined, I started writing my first book, I guess, when I was 35. And there's a lot of authors, hugely successful authors that started well into this 50s, 60s, 70s. So it's never kind of too late in the writing world. But it's interesting that, it was kind of the opportunity presented to you when you had, your pregnancy and you just kind of not stumbled, but you kind of started doing that.
I felt like it was a bit of a stumble, really. There's nothing that made me like, I don't know, just one of those. I like reading, I guess. I think that's the thing, isn't it? If you're a big reader, there comes a time perhaps when you start thinking, well, maybe I could do that. And
So what were the big influences in terms of reading for you then? Because obviously, saying you were a big reader, and I imagine during that time when you were having your pregnancies, you probably picked a few books up. So what was the inspiration for you at that time?
I remember reading quite a lot of Minette Walters around that time. And The Sculptress, I think, was the one. I remember particularly reading that one, and I can't remember. It's awful now, isn't it? My memory. I've got really bad memory. But I think that the murderer in that, it's a woman, and it started off with her. I think I want to say it's her mother that she'd killed. And I don't know what that sounds awful. Doesn't
Someone
it?
on the chat might know.
That's suddenly made me think about it. I don't know, but So I was really reading that, and I really enjoyed that. So Minette Walters definitely was quite a big influence, and Patricia Cornwell, I think, was the first set of books I actually got all of her books, because I then wanted to be this forensic pathologist, and so I kind of went on thinking that that's what I was going to do next, actually, was be a forensic pathologist, which didn't work out. I got to be a nurse, but that was
So you clearly had an interest in the crime genre, and when you started writing, did you know it was going to be crime at the time? Was that a certainty for you?
I don't know. I don't think it was at the beginning. I think my first ever attempt at anything longer than a short story was chick flick. Put my teeth in. Chick lit kind of writing for some reason. I don't know why. I think I tried to be funny. I'm not a funny person. Didn't work out. So crime is better because I'm darker and
went to the dark side, definitely. Yeah. So for the people watching then that may not have known or may not know, by the way, you have got the cover of that book behind you on your screen. It's still there, just about.
I've got.
Oh, there you go. So that's the fantastic cover. The serial killer's wife, of course, has been, as I mentioned at the start of the show, wonderfully received. So let the people know that are watching, that may not know about it. Let them know what it's about, and we can have a little dig into that story.
So I'm really rubbish at doing this short thing. I'll probably give you the entire novel now, right?
Without spoilers.
Without spoilers. So when you've got a title called The Serial Killer's Wife, it's kind of giving a really big hint at what this book is going to be about. But it's kind of Beth's story. So it opens with Beth, her husband's late home. She's thinking the worst, that it's going to be he's been in an accident. And then knock on the door, police at the door. She does think it's the worst, but actually they've come to question her husband over what they assume to be a murder. So it's a missing woman, but no proof of life or anything like that. So they're going along the lines it's a murder, and they want to ask him questions. So obviously she now knows that he's not dead. So the next thing is like it's her fear of whatever was going to be is actually not as bad as what it is. If you see me, I think you should probably think at that point perhaps it would be a better idea if he was dead. So yeah, it's kind of unfolds from there. So we kind of get straight in really with the action and like, you know, finding out that he is being arrested for this, and then it's a kind of slowish unfolding of what he's done, how he's done it. So we know he's a serial killer, but it's the whys and wherefores, and you know how it impacts on Beth, the wife, and they've got a little 3-year-old daughter. So Beth is obviously trying to protect her daughter from the worst that's going to happen. And I also have set this in a small kind of village because I always think
it's where it happens.
It's where it happens. I've lived my entire life in a small village, so I feel I'm okay to talk about the fact that you know everybody knows everything,
yeah,
and you don't get away with an awful lot. So I thought that was quite a nice claustrophobic feel to it, and you know who's going to support her, who's going to turn against her. So it's all those kind of things, and the gossip really around. So you can imagine, can't you, if your neighbour gets arrested for murder. You know,
I know it, especially when you mention like the small villages, because it does happen. You know, they are very close knit communities, especially in the UK. I'm not sure about the American people that are listening, whether it's a similar vibe. I'm not sure, but you know, just the schoolyard playground, for example. You know, the stories that fly around. Yeah, it's terrible. It's like the wild. So yeah, you can imagine those tales going around. There are a few things off the Amazon reviews that I pulled up.
Only the good ones, I hope.
Yeah, of course. No, there's just a few comments. You know, someone wrote 400 pages gone in the blink of an eye, fast-paced and chilling from start to finish, a page turner. I could barely catch my breath. The book blew me away. Plenty of suspense. And the final one, the final double twist is well worth waiting for. And obviously, we don't want to give spoilers away. But how do you approach your writing? Are you a panzer, a plotter? What's the situation there? And we asked our guests in the week about how they plan a big twist, because, you know, it's very good to put one in if it's the right thing to do and to try not to take away from the actual story. So how do you approach that?
The twists were pretty much in, I knew what was going to happen. So it was quite a well planned out novel. But with it, I think, you know, as you write it, things do start to slightly change. So it doesn't necessarily go in the way that you think, but the big twist was kind of in there from the beginning. Because you need to, this is the kind of book you needed to drop bits and pieces in along the way so that the twist doesn't come out of nowhere, you know, because that's obviously people don't like that. If it's like a twist, you've got to be able to see it coming if you really try hard enough to look. So, but there's another, I didn't want to, how do I say it? I didn't want to end it on that twist. So there's just it's
amazing.
Thing.
I mean, Sarah Pinborough came on, and she obviously Behind Your Eyes had been out a long time at this point, so she was fine to talk about it. But you know, that was one of the things that I wasn't really expecting to enjoy, and especially when that end happened, I was just my mind blown. So this has got a very similar vibe. The way that people are saying they didn't see the twist come in, and there was lots going on there. So you kind of mentioned that you planned that and you fed things in throughout. So if someone's watching and is writing their first, say, crime book or any book that has a twist in, what advice would you give them for being able to think ahead and feed those hints or distractions into that story?
I think actually that's a good thing you say, distractions. So sometimes it's not necessarily that the hints are quite obvious. They kind of need to be. It's about kind of squashing them in between two other things, maybe, or like dropping it in, but then following it with something quite big, so that the reader almost forgets that you've put that bit in first. So the emphasis isn't on the hint, it's on whatever comes afterwards or something. So it's almost
it's like magic on the paper, isn't it? Yeah,
it is a bit like that. And I think a lot of that can happen in the editing. So I know that people don't always know they're going to have a certain twist, and certain things don't come until later on. I understand that, you know, different writers approach it in different ways. But I personally think that it's easier to know the twists. You can do that. But then, of course, you know, it depends. My first draft was quite long because I drafted it. I edit as I go a bit, which is not the thing.
Okay.
I know that's like slap on the wrist kind of thing. Don't edit as you go, but I can't help it. It's the way I am. So by the time I've got to the end, everything was quite neat.
Quite neat, yeah.
I know if you've done like a 40,000 word draft, you've got plenty of time to go back and maybe add those twists in and make sure that you've got the hints. So it's different ways of working, but I prefer to know what I was doing. I use a lot of post-it notes as well. I mean, there's post-it notes normally coming. I did have them all on the wall, but obviously I've had to take them down. So
I am very much not a planner, and I very much do not edit as I go. I write the skeleton of a draft you can imagine very quickly, story, and then build on it for months afterwards. But I'd love to be able to just tidy it up along the way, but it's a great idea of being able to plan just enough to be able to like put those really handy and cool things in there. So I like the idea of that. Maybe it's a learning curve.
I think the thing is you've got to, it's trial and error, isn't it? Sometimes. I mean, I'm trying to work on something now that is really early days, and I'm wondering how much to plan. I'm just thinking there's a synopsis, if you like. So I've got a bit of a blurb kind of thing to work to, but other than that, it's really early days, and it's like I'm just learning to think what the characters are going to be, and or even how the story is going to kind of, I don't know I do know what the twist is going to be in it, but I don't know how I'm going to get to it.
Okay,
if you know what I mean.
So you still have to, you've got the puzzle pieces, but you're not quite sure how to put them together just yet. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm waiting for that, like in the shower, inspiration, or when you're driving and can do nothing about it, or you have to pull over to write something down quickly.
It's a bit off topic, but talking about inspiration, just before we came on air, I was looking at, on Twitter, as I always do. They were talking about style in the Olympics. Of course, that's happening at the moment. And Tom Daly, the diver, he had knitted.
Local. He's well English to me.
Knitted an amazing Olympic jumper while sat there watching. And, that's amazing inspiration, right? Or do you think he planned that? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Well, why else would he take his knitting stuff with him? I don't know.
I suppose you have to plan that bit.
Either way, amazing diving and amazing knitting talent, obviously.
Yeah, I can't knit at all.
Or I can't dive either. So
I can't do that either. No. I could probably do a really good belly flop, but that's probably better.
And it says people all have their own methods that work, and that takes that's totes cool. Totes cool. Yeah. It is. Very totes cool. So what is your kind of relationship with your agent, I guess, or and your company, that Avon, I believe, that that thing how did you approach that, and knowing you had this book that you kind of, I guess, knowing you had, did you feel like that book or the story you had was going to have the success it's got?
Well, no. See, that's really, I mean, it's been phenomenal, really, for me. I love every second. I don't know whether it's the title, I don't know quite whether it's all these things that have just come together quite nicely. Just going back a step to the agent. My agent is wonderful. Anne Williams, she's called. And, that author relationship with your agent is obviously massive, isn't it? It's the key thing. And they're the gateway to the publishers. So, getting the agent was such a big deal. So that, that's, I drink to everything, but that was a big drink.
I'm now visualizing agents being gatekeepers. Well, we are the gatekeepers.
There's a lot of gatekeepers, I feel, in publishing, but and I know a lot of people go their own way with things, and that's absolutely fine. But I did want, I suppose it was my dream to have that, deal that's what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Oh,
It's
yes,
kind of that.
the traditional
It's all,
deal. Yeah,
yeah, it's traditional,
yeah,
but it's kind of like, there's a lot of us on the show or listen to the show, self-publishing, and
definitely.
I'm happy, and I was happy to do that, but I still got that desire that what I'm writing now, I want to get published in that direction, because it's kind of getting that affirmation that what you're doing is actually, you've got the confirmation that what you're writing is worthy to go out there, even though self-publishing, the reviews tell you that anyway. So it's one of those things. Traditional publishing has always got that draw to it, that it's kind of the silver lining at times, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it just, you're not in it on your own so much. I mean, I think self-publishing is amazing if you're good at doing everything. I don't feel I'm good at doing everything at all, so I think I'll stick to the writing and let them do their bit. So I think, for me, that it works better that way, and it feels like you've got that support network. And Avon, I think they're brilliant and
amazing,
because they're quite a small imprint. HarperCollins obviously is the bigger one, but Avon itself, and they're such an enthusiastic team and just also lovely. I mean, everyone's just so lovely. It's just like, it's really nice. So having that and the support and the input with the serial killer's wife has just been so huge.
So let's talk about
literally pulled out all the stops, I feel like, for this, and done TikTok things, and they've done, I don't know, it's just so much. It's been really exciting. So
it is that over lockdown, certain things like TikTok, for example, have been a massive new way to advertise for authors even. So it's a really interesting platform. So let's talk about the success it has had, because when I mentioned it had been in the charts for 10 weeks, it's probably 11 weeks now, but 6 of those was in the top of the charts anyway, in the top, say, 15 at the time. And in that time, in just 10, 11 weeks, it's now on very, very shy of 5,000 reviews. I mean, how does that, when you first put a book out, of course, you're looking at the reviews thinking, what's going to come in, hoping to have a few, and now you're knocking on 5,000. I mean, what does that feel like for an author?
It just, I don't know, it is amazing, and it's kind of scary to think that, you obviously you want people to read the book, and you want loads of people to read the book, but when you find out that there's 5,000 people that have rated it, that's like, oh my god, all those people have read my words. It's just really kind of weird.
It is weird, because you can guarantee there's a lot of readers that don't review as well. So there's, either it's prompting people to be that passionate about the story that I'm going to leave a review about this, I have to, or there's a lot of people reading it, that many people, that 5,000 is the smaller portion leaving a review. So either way, it's drawing, whether, like you mentioned, it's the name of the book or the pic or the blurb or whatever it be, and the marketing as well.
Yeah, something's caught the attention, I think, and that feels really good as well. A few people have said it's quite a fresh way of like thinking of serial killers, for example, because it's maybe a little bit different from the
I love it.
Quite like that. So and
brushing the teeth. Yeah.
I'm not even going to go there, right? But you maybe lose my track now. I have no idea.
Different types of serial killers, or a different approach.
Like going into like the character's mind a bit more, and really thinking about relationships almost as well. Because with a serial killer husband, it's a bit scary. I've looked at mine a little bit differently since I've written this book.
Yeah. So I'm guessing, I mean, there's not two types of people. There's probably a lot more that are writers. There's people that lean on their experiences in life, and there's people that lean on their sort of academic side of things as well. But you kind of have both of those, right? So you've got your psychology degree, and you've worked in custodial environments as well. So you've experienced, and the NHS, of course, deal with a lot of trauma. So you've dealt with all these different aspects that you've been able to tie together and really put on the page. I mean, how much has that influenced you, and were there any kind of external factors as well that influenced that story?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think each of those experiences has brought something. Probably, really, the prison aspect has been the key one in terms of subject matter, and just my own. I can remember how I felt listening to certain crimes and listening to the offenders talking about killing somebody and how they did it, and that's quite a strong thing to hear, and it does bring about quite a lot of different emotions. So there's always those things that I've got to fall back on and think, how did I feel during that? And also, you can't help but put your mind into the victim and think, how did they feel when this was going on, and how did they experience that? So definitely the prison side of it has had a big impact on just my subject matter, I suppose. Maybe that is why, I don't know if it's because I had a dark mind, I went into that line of work. Just liked, kind of murderers and things.
Do you know what? I imagine working in the NHS gives you that kind of, it's a lot of emergency services or forces and things like that. You really rely on that dark humor and that ability to deal with those things just to get you through a lot of the day and to do your job. So I'm guessing it's kind of an attraction for you after those certain types of jobs that kind of felt a natural transition. But obviously,
our lunchtime chats at the prison, I've never been able to have another conversation like the ones we have there. You just can't. You can't have it with ordinary people. Just the topics of conversation and just things that you end up talking about are just so dark sometimes. And so
I was going to say amazing. It's incredible. Incredible is the word.
The point is, we're all very intrigued by. Well, I say all. We're not all, obviously, but a lot of people are intrigued by the mindset of murderers and people that commit violent crime. So I think, we've got this kind of natural interest. I mean, you're only going to look at Netflix and all the documentaries. It's just full of these kind of programs. So obviously there's a big interest in it.
Even in the world of podcasting, true crime podcast, one of the biggest niche podcasts there is. I mean, people really enjoy. And I wasn't someone massively into these sort of stories and even going back to cults and things. And there's certain podcasts that I listen to, and they go into all these stories. I'm starting like, I love listening to these. They're amazing. And I don't know what the attraction is about these. It's just the other side of human nature, I guess, that we're not entirely understanding of.
No, I think you feel the need to kind of understand, maybe because it's in your life. It's all around you, isn't it? So maybe it's a safe way of exploring these things. But
then when you tap into it and you realize what there is, sometimes it's not the best thing to do, because sometimes if you're living in a wonderful ignorant world in the nicest kind of context, then it's
bliss,
it is. So what I've got, and it's kind of a weird new thing. I asked Nadine on Wednesday, Nadine Matheson, on the show. We gave her 3 options of, I guess, pun names of detectives. So I've got 5 today for you. One or two I found, and some were provided by the community. So what I'm going to do to make it a bit more fun for the audience as well, I'm going to post in the chat right now a link to a survey, so they can fill out which they think is the best. But I'm going to ask you as well.
I can't see what anyone's writing. I don't think.
You're sorry. I'll put the comments up when they're worthy for the screen. So detective names. Which is your favorite? And we've had a few. So the first one is Rigor Mortis.
Oh, that's perfect. I love that one already.
It's not bad, is it? It's a good one to start with, definitely. Okay. Number 2 is Robin Banks.
Okay. At least I understand them. That's a good thing, because the worry is that I wouldn't actually get them. So that's I got that one.
Yeah, two out of 2 is not bad. Okay, number 3, Misty Mina.
Oh, very good. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good.
It is. It's more subtle, but as is the next one. I like this. No prejudice though. So Sue Perintendant, double-barreled.
Yes, excellent. Oh my God, he come up. This is so clever.
Yeah, this is our wonderful community. They are very good. That is a very good one. I do like that. And then the final one, Evidence, or if you say it slightly different, is Evidence.
Yeah,
which again is fantastic. Someone said best dick lol. So yes, the survey is called "Which is your favorite dick?" Is in detective, of course. So please fill that out and let me know.
Podcast,
But the question to you, Alice, is which do you think is the best?
Oh, could you put them back up again?
Yeah, so we got Rigor Mortis.
I did say to you, my memory is
Rig or Mortis. We got Robin Banks, Misty Mina, Sue Perintendant, Evidence or Evidence.
I think Misty Mina. I think that's really. I was like, Misty's quite good. I like that.
Misty
That's
Mina.
My winner. Yeah.
Okay, Misty Mina. Let's have a little look at the responses. We've had a few in. And there's a big 50% of a winner at the moment, and that is Superintendent.
Yeah, that is. I mean, that is very clever. I've got to give you that on the cleverness.
So there you go. Whoever did that, thank you. Make yourself aware, known in the chat. So Superintendent, well done to you, and Mr. Mina, our guest choice. So yeah, well done.
Well done. They're all very clever. Oh, God, I'd take about a year to come up with those.
It took a while. It took a while. There's a long wait on the chat there. So what we'll do very shortly, once we've done the new family member, guys, you know what that's all about. If you watch the show, we'll do questions from the community. But before I do both of those things, I'll ask Alice some staple WCCS questions. Oh, so, okay. Alice, okay, yes. If you could take on the spot time, if you could take a character from any fiction, whether that be TV, film, or book, literature, or whatever that be, and add that into either a story of your own or create an entirely new story, what character would you take and why?
Oh my God. How long have we got?
As long as you want.
Any character.
Any character, and it could be from anything. What character do you think is really interesting?
It's not a book, I'm sorry. Really
it doesn't have to be a book. That's why I opened it up to TV and film.
One of my favourite things ever for years was The X-Files, and I would love Fox Mulder. Oh, I would have him in a book. In a book. Yeah. See, I think obviously he was looking into the weird and wonderful, but I still think he'd make just an ordinary good detective.
He fits the profile very well, doesn't he?
I mean, I still miss that program. I loved it.
It was back out, but it was never the same. No. But there's the fan favorite detective I know on the show is Lucifer. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's the favorite of our audience.
There's so many though, isn't there? And I think I know I keep going on about it. Like I'm basically Dory from Finding Nemo, because honestly my memory is so bad. So I think
also a great detective.
If people bring up stuff, I think, oh yeah, that one. There's loads of stuff that I like, but I can never. On the spot stuff's really bad for me. Just to let you know.
Oh, on the spot one. Okay. So we'll put another on the spot question then. If you could change the ending to anything, and again, it doesn't have to be a book; it can be anything, and it can be for good or bad reason. What would you change the ending to?
Oh man, these questions are hard.
You can pass them. You can, but you should give it.
Am I allowed to diss Stephen King?
Yeah, why not?
You won't be watching.
No, he won't be.
I didn't like the end of it.
No, that's you're not the first person to say that.
No, that's not my favourite ending in the book or the film. I didn't like, because the film altered it anyway, I think. But yeah, no, that wasn't my favourite. But I don't know how I'd change it necessarily. I was
going to say, how would you amend that? But
the spider thing at the end as well. Like he changes into the spider. I don't like spiders. Maybe that's just it. But
maybe Fox Mulder walks in and just destroys it. I mean, why not?
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good one to choose.
I know what I didn't enjoy recently, program-wise. And it's very sad.
Go on.
Line of Duty ending was so gutting.
Do you know what? I've never watched it.
Oh, really? So it's really good.
I know it's on my list.
It was like, really? I just didn't know. It just didn't work for me at all.
You're selling it to me right now.
I'm sorry. The rest was that good.
Was that the end? Was that the official end?
Yeah. Oh well, I assume they might do another. There'll be another series, right?
I don't know, but like a series end, you can sometimes get over at a series end, but if it's the end, it's like, that's bad.
I'm not sure whether they're going to do another one, but it seemed like a really big key thing, and it was a bit of a damp squib, really.
How do you think I feel now? The Walking Dead is coming back for its last ever season. I've spent about 12 years of my life watching this, and the last kind of few of them have been quite painful. So I am with it purely out of commitment, and if that ends poorly, I'm going to sit in a sad corner for a while.
See, I'm looking forward to Stranger Things. There's a new series of Stranger Things.
Yes.
I would be gutted if that ends badly as well.
And also, I don't know if you're a fan of American Horror Story. They're coming back with an alien twist this time, which I'm looking forward to very much so.
I like aliens. Well, obviously, we know this now. I've mentioned X-Files. But yeah, I do like alien things. I might write an alien book next.
Seasons of series. Yeah, they're the same here, seasons and series. Is that right?
Yeah.
No. A series
then-
is a collection of seasons in the UK.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Sorry.
Didn't get that. Try again. Well, no, I think series, because you have series 1, series 2.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So it's the same seasons, I guess.
Okay.
So I've only just started watching. It's a blank. What's it called? Oh God, what am I watching? Well, I have only just started watching Bosch as well, which is been going for ages, but that's not what I'm.
What happens in it? Explain it to us like a game of charades.
I don't know. I can't even remember that now. What am I watching? Oh God, it's gone. Let's move on, and I'll come back.
Move on. Okay. So one more final question, and then we'll get some questions in very soon. Okay, someone said, Chelsea, I've seen spoilers, but oh my God, I'm avoiding the end of Supernatural like the plague.
Spoilers are horrible, aren't they? When you're behind on something.
So if not even behind, just if you.
Bad. Sorry,
Breaking Bad.
That's what I've just started watching, and so I'm obviously behind quite a bit on that. Anyway,
if you follow things on Instagram, don't, because if you're watching it, even if you haven't watched the episode from yesterday, there's spoilers on this straight away. Ignore them until you finished it. So the last question in this kind of group is, if you've picture yourself kind of down the line now, on your deathbed perhaps, and you're looking back at your career.
Tomorrow, probably then, yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow. And you're looking back at your career. What would outline success for you? What would that be?
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it? Well, I think I'm maybe probably it's quite a common thing, but I'd quite like to be on like the Sunday Times bestseller list, or something like big like that would be quite nice to be able to say. But really, I think I'd like everything. Let's go for a full-on. I would like a film deal. I'd like to, or a series or something, or season.
Yeah, season.
I kind of want it all, really, because why not? I'd like to look back, and I think it's like I've got a little grandson, and it'd be nice to think that I've got loads of little grandchildren that are going, oh, my granny. God, that's nanny. I go nanny. My nanny has written, what's even worse? I don't know. I don't like any of that. It makes me sound really old, but has written all these books, and she's got a film and all that sort of thing. I think, and having my family proud of me, I think is the.
Is it a bedtime story though?
No.
No, probably not.
No, you're right. Oh, I should write children's books now.
Yeah, maybe that. I don't know. But either way, I mean, Sunday Times bestseller, of course, is amazing. But you never know with the way this book's going.
No, but that's it now. It's past that. You can't.
It's past it. It's gone.
Yeah,
it's gone.
Unfortunately. So next
you never know. I mean, what would you do if they said, okay, it's going to be a TV or a film, it's optioned and successful? What if they said to you, it's going to be this or that, but we want to change the ending and you don't like it? Would you sign it or not?
Oh, blimey. I don't like the ending. Like
what
really
they've suggested.
Oh, my God. That would be hard, wouldn't it? Because
it's deal or no deal. Bad ending or not. So what would you do?
How much money's on the table?
I can't discuss that.
There's a possibility you'd have to just do it, wouldn't you? If it's it might be my only ever chance of getting
I think I would. I
just would never watch it, and I would never look at Twitter and see what they're saying about it afterwards.
You just pause it right at the end. Not watching that.
Yeah,
I'd say do it as long as I can be on it somewhere, just in the background.
Who does that? Somebody does that, don't they? In their own. They're in their own.
There's a few we've had on. Who is it? Tim Leben in.
Sorry.
So Tim Leben, he was on the book The Silence he wrote. He was actually lying as a dead person on the floor.
Was he really?
He was, yeah.
I didn't realise that. I like that. That's really good.
Yeah. Okay, so what we go on.
No, I was just thinking, be a dead person in your book and your film. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I'd like that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do welcome a new family member, and what that means is on Twitter, someone who's followed the show recently on Twitter. Maybe not have a big following. We're going to give them a shout out, but what we do is we attack them with a plague of GIFs or GIFs. Still really don't know which one it is. The audience that are watching right now, and if you're listening back on a podcast, why not do it again anyway? We're going to put this person on screen. You're going to choose a GIF, or GIF.
I'll say GIF. I don't know. I like GIF. That's
I say GIF. You're going to choose a GIF or a kind of category of GIF, and we'll all send that person a GIF. So I'll play a little video. I'll introduce the person, and then we can send that a GIF to that person. So this person is quite fitting. Terror Detective. Yeah, his Twitter name is @terrordetective. And guys, if you're up for this now, go to find Terror Detective. It says, his bio says, consider me your scary movie sleuth on the hunt for great horror movies, old and new. I'm definitely going to follow this account because that sounds right up my street. I hope you enjoy horror movie reviews. And he has 75 followers. So if we could give him a bit of a boost.
Don't we? Yeah.
Yeah. Alice, what GIF are we going to send this person collectively?
It seems a bit like obvious if we do like a horror thing, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? What about good Hannibal Lecter?
Hannibal Lecter.
GIFs where he does like you can just see that he's doing that thing with his mouth.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's Hannibal. I mean, he's probably got 1,000 of those if he's into this stuff. But he's only got 55 followers, so he might not consent.
He's got a picture of what looks like Sherlock Holmes with a skull face, which is also very cool. So I'm going to tweet that person right now. Hannibal Lecter. The first gift that comes up, and just say welcome to the family as well, guys, or something weird. Is up to you. Just so he's not totally confused. And there it is. I've done it.
Welcome to this to me. I want to get lots of gifts.
We can GIF you as well if you like.
Oh, please, yeah.
What is your Twitter handle? I know. It's Alice __
Hunter _1.
_1. I remember that. So let me put that on the screen because otherwise people won't know. Alice _Hunter _1.
Mad gifts. I'd love that. Obviously.
What gifts do you want though?
Oh, any, whatever.
Any gifts at all?
Yeah. Not rude.
Not rude. No. Okay, I'm going to find one to send you right now, live on air. This is impressive. So
can I look at it straight away?
You can look at it straight away. Okay. Welcome to the WCCS family, Alice. I haven't tweeted it yet. So there you go. There you go. You should have that for me now. But anyone else, send Alice also a GIF and
well, that's perfect.
Yeah. Don't tell them what it is. They can have a look. Okay. Perfect. So whilst people are doing that, and just before we get the questions from the community to ask yourself, me, or both of us collectively, what author are you really into that you could recommend people to read?
Oh, now then, that's really hard because there's so many, isn't there? Well, we know
there is. Not Stephen King's It.
No. I need to read some recent ones of his. I always like my automatic buys are people like Sharon Bolton. I've always liked her books, and I would just buy hers regardless now. So, CJ Tudor. Now that she's relatively new, and I've loved all of her books so far.
We've had both of those on this show.
Have you? Yes. So I think CJ Tudor's books I've got that really good mix for me. So I kind of like the weirdness of some of the things, but her writing's brilliant. I just love it. I just love her books.
Yeah.
And actually, I think I read. Which one would it have been? Here we go again.
The Burning Man, Chalk Man.
No.
Can't think of any others. Something else, man.
The third one. Not Annie. The one after Annie Thorne.
Yeah,
The Other People.
Okay. Yep.
The Other People was the one that kind of got me out of my lockdown slum, because when we went into lockdown first of all, I was rubbish at reading, and I couldn't. My mind was always on figures of how many are dying today, and it's just awful. So that one actually, it was really nice weather, wasn't it, at the beginning of lockdown when we had it here. So I sat outside and read that cover to cover, and I just really liked that one, and I think that got me out. And I read loads after that, so that one really got me back into my Reading Mojo.
Yeah.
And I think I followed was S.K. Tremaine. He did the Ice Twins, and there's one set on Dartmoor because I live near Dartmoor. So
it's
quite
place,
nice,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's a brilliant place. All sorts can go on up there.
It's very supernatural.
There's so many stories, and
it's got a very. It feels like you kind of feel like there's been rituals happening. Do you know what I mean? It's got like that vibe.
Stuff like that going on, yeah. So there's so much up there. That's a really good, and obviously Hound of the Baskervilles and all that sort of thing was kind of Dartmoor, wasn't it? Yeah, so definitely CJ Tudor. I've just finished one called The Vacancy by Elizabeth Carpenter, which is just literally out now, and that was really good. I've really enjoyed that, and it's got an eccentric writer in it, so there's quite a lot of like little things in there. It's got a mention of Goodreads, which made me laugh, and just like little like bits in it that just relate to as a writer. So I find that one really good.
That's really interesting. I like that they put little modern snippets in there. Okay, guys that are watching, if you have questions for Alice about her book, about what the success it's had, about what the plans may be for the future. In fact, I might ask them myself very shortly. Or for me, please send them in right now, and we will ask them in the next couple of minutes, in the last 10 minutes of the show. So, Alice, I'm going to ask that. I'm going to steal that one. You mentioned that you were writing or plotting. There's a blurb. There's a thought behind the next story. Is that also crime? And this is going to be a big question to answer, I guess. But do you feel the pressure of what has happened with the first one is going to really affect how you approach the second book?
I think so, yes. I think just definitely. I think that is going to definitely be on my mind as I'm writing it, because you want to follow a book up with something equally as interesting and that will grab attention in the same way. But I'm not sure you can ever do that again. Can you ever really? I don't know. How many books?
Of course you can. You can do it.
No, I mean, I really get the follow-up, the pressure of a follow-up book. But I don't know. I mean, it's all, I can't really talk about it anyway at the moment. It's all a bit, there's nothing definite currently. So it's all a bit up in the air a little bit. So it's just, early days.
Early days.
Lots of hoping. Okay. But I do think there is going to be pressure, but it will be in the similar vein to this one. So, it's not going to be a follow-on. I think there have been a lot of I've had emails and messages saying, are you going to follow this exact story on? And that, I don't think it will happen. Maybe one day I'd like to pick it up again with the same characters and see what's happened to them. But I think for now it's going to be a different type of story, but still in the same vein.
It's always interesting to think that you perhaps, had you felt like, I want to carry this on right now, you would write straight off the back of where they are and what the story is. But perhaps coming back to it in, say, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, there may be a very cool, different aspect on it. And that the characters are that much older as well. So there could be a lot to play with if you have, leave it that time to breathe.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some ideas. And actually, it's funny, but a reviewer / blogger also said, you could do this, this, and this. And it was a really good idea. And I'm thinking, I could do that.
Yeah, thanks. I'll bank that one.
And I think as you talk about the books and like being in a book club, isn't it, sometimes? And other people give you ideas almost, and you can think, like you say, nothing's ever wasted, is it, either?
No.
People come up with some wild and wacky things, but I think, we'll have that. I actually took I've got like a whiteboard, like a flip chart, and I took it to my friend's house, and they helped me brainstorm some ideas.
I absolutely love that idea. Let's have a dinner party with my board of ideas, and please add to it. Yeah. It's better than a drinking game. Just add to my board, please.
Yeah, but the drink is normally involved as well.
Of course. I mean, but no, don't worry about charades. Just give me ideas, please. Forget that. Okay, we have some questions come in. So what I'll play again, of course, the video that introduces this round, and then we will ask the questions, and we'll see where they go.
having a hot slush bath on
AC says Dexter spoiled me on their own Facebook page ages ago. It's ridiculous. I agree.
Sorry, I was going to say
it's crazy, isn't it?
I've not seen Dexter.
I've not seen Dexter.
No.
No, in fact, that's a lie. I watched the first couple, just didn't really get into it. But it is ridiculous to think that someone who's airing their TV series, especially when later in the UK, it's often out a couple of days later, put spoilers on their own page. I think that's crazy. He also says,
killing for that.
Yeah, doesn't Stephen King like to be in his own movies?
Oh, does he?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Well, I can't remember seeing.
No. Okay, so who is your favorite serial killer? Question 1.
In real life, or are we fictional?
I don't know. It's an open question.
Oh dear, if I say somebody real now, that makes me look really bad. Well,
yeah, probably not.
No, don't do the real person.
I don't know. It's up to you. Your answer is your answer. You can say what you like.
Serial killer. Well, favorite's a really wrong word to use for real people.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go fictional then. Well, the thing is, obviously, the obvious one is Hannibal, because I think I was 18 when I went to go see that film. I didn't read the book before I saw the film. I've read the book since, but I saw the film first. So you kind of got to love Hannibal, I think, just for the
just because he's Anthony Hopkins.
And it's Anthony Hopkins. I do love Anthony Hopkins, not
Absolutely.
so much as Hannibal, but he it just the character was so good. And at 18, that was my first kind of my first experience of serial killers.
It's a good one to see first, isn't it? I mean, you really get a good impersonation of someone who's really mentally different. And there's a lot of serial killer movies that don't really reflect that as much as that does.
And I just think he's really quite calm in most of it, isn't he? You know what I mean? You apart from when he rips that person's face off, but he's quite calm and collected and well spoken, and I don't know. There's just that he just adds that little bit of fear.
It's that crazy composure of the killer that is not erratic and just crazy.
And I think that's scarier than somebody coming at you all, but I actually think as well on the flip side, Caroline Kepney's character Joe. Now he's obviously a serial killer, but he comes across completely differently, and I think he seems more like your boy next door when you look at him and see him. And so I kind of quite like that as well. So that's a bit of the opposite end of he doesn't look scary. He doesn't come across scary. And
that's coming out. The second one of that is coming out soon as well, is it? Or has it already been out?
Out? I think it might be out.
It might be
out.
Maybe.
So
No, I agree. I think that's a good quality to have in a serial killer, is something that you are familiar with, because that puts the fear in it a bit more.
I think when I met my first killer proper in life, he wasn't what I expected. I had a bit of a stereotypical Anthony Hopkins probably thing in my head. I mean, when I met him, and he was just literally so normal, and I just that really frightened me, and I was just sat there looking at him thinking, but I'd have a conversation. If I met you in a bar, I'd have a conversation with you. I wouldn't feel, you don't look weird. You know what I mean? All the things in your head sometimes you think a killer or is going to look like, or have some kind of weird vibe. He didn't, and that was quite chilling.
Okay, a few more questions. Ross says, do you have a favorite real life crime? And that's a crime, not a killer.
Ooh. No, there's quite a lot of crimes that I think about. Like there's unsolved crimes, I think. There's some local ones that Jeanette Tate, which I know might not mean anything to a lot of people, but I grew up knowing about Jeanette Tate. My parents told me she disappeared. I think the police found her bike abandoned. It's always assumed that she'd died and been abducted and murdered, but her body's never been found. And we're talking over 40 years ago now, and it's not been solved. So there are certain crimes, I can't say they're my favourite real life crimes, but they're ones that I still think about, and still referenced like locally. And there's a another young girl that was stabbed near me, and she was only 13 and dog walking, and that's another one that's not been solved. So those are the kind of crimes that I still think, it would be really good to get some closure for the family, and for, it just seems wrong that this person hasn't come to justice at all.
Yeah.
So those are not favourite ones, but you know what I mean? They're ones that are ongoing.
Okay. Thanks for asking that question. Chelsea says, what's the best part of writing process for you, or the worst?
I can already tell you, I'll tell you the worst first, get that out of the way. Editing.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of editing. Like, once I've written my book, that actually, I do need a quick story. So when I did write this book and it went off, editor did it all, I did tweaks and what have you. And then the copy editor found quite a big error in my timeline. So timelines, oh God. So that was like, I had to swap chapters. I had to do all this different, it was quite a big error, if you see what I mean. And it was, police procedural side of things. It was a bit just in the wrong order, basically.
Wow. And
obviously you need to have it in the right order. So that editing part was a nightmare. My favourite part is the beginning. It's just that, the enthusiasm and the excitement of just getting all these characters and, putting it together. And research as well. I quite enjoyed the research on this one. I got to watch a lot of Netflix stuff and Ted Bundy tapes and
you watching this again? Yes. Research.
yeah, I'm not weird. I don't like Ted Bundy. But and I watched the film as well, actually, which was interesting, with Zac Efron as the Ted Bundy.
I'm not got around to it yet, but that's definitely going to be watched.
Interesting, choice of actor. I mean, he played it well, but obviously he's very good looking, and I don't know. There's a bit of me that thought, it's a little bit fantasizing the serial killer there, but maybe we're all doing that if we're writing about them.
Well, perhaps they're not all weird looking people.
No, they're not. No, they're definitely not weird. But Zac Efron. I mean, come on.
Okay, so thanks for that question. Halo's arrived, and she says Friday, and I've lost all the questions now because of that. Yes, Friday. So hello. How do you pronounce that? M-A? Eme? Sorry for not pronouncing your name correctly. I pronounced a lot of things really silly. How did you find the career process before you landed your agent? So that is a good question. And long process.
It's a long process. Weirdly, I kind of enjoyed it because it's kind of that exciting thing about waiting for an email. So, oh my God, the refresh button. Oh, I've just pressed my button. Your refresh finger, you know what I mean? It's just forever thinking, have I got email? Have I got email? Have I got email? So it was long, sometimes stressful, but ultimately I found it quite fun. I'd do it again. Why have I said that? I'm not getting rid of my agent, by the way.
Not exclusive. Erase that exclusive.
I think the thing is, when you're doing it, you need to keep going. I mean, you have to just keep hammering out. But the thing is after you've done a certain amount of queries and you're getting nothing back, you need to then think, okay, why? So then it was an interesting process to tweak this, tweak that, figure out what you're doing, what's not grabbing the attention, kind of thing. So mainly, I think mainly the letter. I don't know. Obviously, your chapters are going to be good, haven't they? But the letter is the first thing they're going to read. So I kept honing my letter, email as it is, but But actually, Anne was one of the first people to ask for my full manuscript, and then I think I had about six requests for it, and I went with her. So she was the first person to ask for it, and the first person.
When you get asked, what is your instant feeling? Is it like, actually, shit? Excuse language. Is it now like, I hope I've done this well enough, or is it like, oh, I'm ready for this now? Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm ready for this. Let's go.
Yeah.
Just do it. It's exciting. Honestly, the excitement is just beyond anything I've known. I don't know. I think I might have even been more excited about the agent than the publishing deal. It's a bit odd, isn't it? Because that's the point. Is the end point is your publishing deal, and Avon are just, but yeah, I don't know. Well, obviously that's key to get the publishing deal, but initially
Definitely.
that I don't think because you've been trying. I think I had like, God, how many did I query? 20, 30, 40, who knows, really, there's so many. But yeah, I think
Okay.
it's just, you're overwhelmingly excited when you get that. Would we'd like to represent you?
Okay, we've got one more. We've just gone over the hour, but we have one
Oh,
more
I'm
question
sorry.
in.
I've started chatting now. That's it, isn't it?
Christopher Platt, he says, how long have you been writing? What were your first stories about?
Well, I think the writing first. Oh, do you know what? My very first short story was about the Loch Ness monster.
Was it really?
And that was, like I said, when I must have been late 20s or so. But novel writing, I didn't start. I mean, till 2014.
Yeah.
I think I started my first novel length thing, and like I said, that was a kind of a chick litty thing, which didn't get any. I only got as far as about 10,000 words, and then went into the crime. So yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? When
short story was Loch Ness monster, of course.
It's weird that I've done. When you're writing, you know what you're writing when you're writing it well. That is kind of the right fit, because I wrote kind of a few horror books which I've released now, and I tried writing a crime book that I've got a great idea for. I struggled and struggled and struggled to the point where I thought, you know what, I'm going to put that aside. I went back to what I'm writing now, which is a horror, and I smashed it. So it's like, clearly that genre is where I need to be, and you kind of found the same thing there with your crime writing. So
and you need to have a little play around, I think, sometimes.
Definitely.
I still quite like to write sci-fi. Actually, would be my chosen thing if it wasn't crime.
Weirdly enough, again, I always go back to horror, but sci-fi horror. I was only mentioning, chatting to someone yesterday about Event Horizon, the film from the 90s. Incredible film. I need to watch again. Very good sci-fi film. But
yes, I remember it, but not. I mean, I remember.
Well, this is why I want to watch it again. So yeah,
I think I'd need to watch that one again, definitely.
Yeah,
Sam Neill, isn't it?
It is Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne.
Please be impressed that I remembered this.
Yay! Halo says my rom-com became a horror.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it?
Isn't that what you was as well? Oh, let's write a rom-com. Actually, let's go dark with this. Amazing. So we're gonna have to wrap up, because we've blasted this. It's nearly an hour and 5 minutes in, and it's gone in a flash. All I can say, guys, the ones of you that have tuned in to watch this live, amazing. Please remember to hit the like, subscribe, and notification button, and enjoy your comments. Leave them behind for us. I enjoy replying to them as well. Follow Alice on Twitter. We did post that link out earlier. Attack her with gifts also. She likes the gifts. And thank you for your story, Alice. I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
Thank you very much. It's been really good. Thank you. Cheers.
Amazing. Buy Alice's book and Marianne's book, book 5 in the series. Book 6 is out in September. Thank you for supporting the show. All of you guys, I will see you, the ones of you, in our close knit family in the Patreon group as well. We may be sticking around for a bit of an after show. So if you want to be involved with that, we'll send a link out to you guys. And everybody else, please stay safe. And we'll see you next week. We've got a big guest on Wednesday. I'll tell you right now, Mark Billingham's on the show next Wednesday. So that's going to be a fantastic interview. Please get some questions ready for him, because that's going to be very interesting. And everybody, please stay safe. We'll see you soon. Thank you, guys. Bye.